Picture this: a company with everything working in its favor, unlimited demand, customers begging for it before it even opens, $7 billion in the bank to make it happen, and in less than 2 years, every single dollar is gone. You're probably thinking, that's impossible, nobody fails with those odds. Stay with me, because by the end you'll know exactly how it happened, and the real reason isn't the one you're expecting. Not even close. And there's one number near the end of this story that's going to stick with you long after you close the app. Most people have no idea this even happened. It barely made headlines outside of Canada. But once you know it, you won't forget it. In 2011, Target was one of the biggest retailers in America, worth $70 billion. And just across the northern border, something strange was already happening. Before Target had even opened a single store there, Canadians were driving hours across the border just to shop at American Target stores. Not because they had to, because they genuinely wanted to. Target had built the one thing almost every company chases and almost never finds: a country full of customers who already loved them. So when Target finally announced it was opening in Canada, this wasn't a normal expansion. It felt like a sure thing. Guaranteed customers, guaranteed excitement, guaranteed success. Except one decision made quietly in a boardroom in January of 2011 would end up costing them all of it. Instead of opening a handful of stores first and learning the market the way almost every retailer does, Target made one giant move. They bought out 220 stores that used to belong to a Canadian chain called Zellers, all at once, for $1.8 billion. Here's what that actually means in simple terms. When you take over a building like that, you sign a contract called a lease. It's a legal promise. This space is mine, and here's what I agree to do with it. Buried inside Target's contract was one line that would decide the fate of the entire company. They had to open every single one of those stores by a fixed date. Miss it, and they'd lose the buildings, and the $1.8 billion already spent on them, gone. In other words, Target didn't choose to rush into Canada. That one signed promise forced them to. Remember how I said the real reason wasn't what you'd expect? This is it. A contract signed before anyone fully understood what it meant. By February 2013, 1 month before the first stores were set to open, the president of Target Canada was holding emergency meetings every single day, and every single meeting brought worse news. Checkout systems were failing. Products were stuck in warehouses instead of reaching shelves. Wrong currencies, wrong measurements, wrong quantities. They knew all of this. 1 month out. And they opened anyway. On March 5th, 2013, Target Canada opened its first 3 stores. Sarah Jessica Parker showed up. National media covered it like a historic moment.
Here probably since 6:30 in the morning.
We've been out here since 5:30.
And behind the celebration, the shelves were half empty. Customers who had waited years for this walked in and found missing products, higher prices than the American stores, and checkout lines that crashed in real time. Within weeks, photos of empty Target shelves in Canada were spreading across the internet. That's what people saw when they searched Target Canada online. Not a store, but a shelf with 3 lonely products spaced out to look fuller than it was. The excitement that took Target decades to build evaporated in a single shopping trip, and it never came back. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. That broken inventory system wasn't just an inconvenience. It was actively making things worse every single day on its own. Because the data was wrong, the system kept ordering the wrong products in the wrong amounts at the wrong stores automatically. Every attempt to fix one error created new ones somewhere else down the chain. Target Canada was trying to run 124 stores using a map that had been broken since day one. Then, just as Target Canada was fighting to survive, its American parent company got hit by one of the largest data breaches in retail history, exposing the information of 70 million customers. The CEO in the US resigned. The company that was supposed to be rescuing Canada was now fighting for its own life back home. By February 2014, the damage finally had a number: $941 million lost in Canada in a single year. The head of Target Canada resigned. Target released a public apology video to Canadian customers, the first time in company history it had ever done that for an entire market. And still, it kept getting worse. On January 15, 2015, Target Canada hit a point most companies never admit publicly, even when it happens to them. It could not make payroll, not a projection, not a warning in a memo, an actual Friday, days away, where paychecks simply would not go out unless something changed immediately. Without emergency court protection filed that exact day, its own employees would have opened their banking apps that week and found nothing. A $70 billion company had built a subsidiary that ran out of money to pay its own staff. The new CEO ran the numbers one final time. Even in the best case, Target Canada wouldn't turn a profit until 2021. 6 more years of losses stacked on billions already gone. He made the only call left. All 133 stores closed. 17,600 people lost their jobs in a single announcement. Here's the number I promised you: $7 billion lost across 17,600 jobs. Do that math, and it comes out to just under $400,000 per employee. Not revenue, not projections. Money that actually vanished, while real people walked out with nothing but a final paycheck that almost didn't come. Total time from opening day to total collapse: 2 years and 1 month. And here's the detail that makes this whole story almost impossible to believe. 6 months after closing every store in the country and laying off every single employee, Target quietly launched a website to ship products to Canadian customers online. They called it Target Loves Canada. $7 billion gone, 17,600 jobs lost, every store shuttered, and the name they landed on after all of it was Target Loves Canada. This wasn't a culture clash, it wasn't a smarter competitor, it wasn't even really about Canada. It was a lease agreement signed before anyone understood what it meant, and a decision to open the doors anyway because the calendar said it was time, even when everyone inside already knew it wasn't ready. Sometimes the most expensive mistake a company makes isn't the one everyone watches happen on launch day. It's the one made quietly, months earlier, in a room nobody was paying attention to. Now you know something most people who've shopped at Target their whole life have never even heard of. If this changed how you think about corporate failure, share it with someone who'd find this as unbelievable as you just did, and follow for the next one. Tell me in the comments which detail hit hardest. For most people, it's the payroll, a $70 billion company that couldn't pay its own employees. That one still doesn't sit right.